Happy Black Friday, everybody. Hey, if you're looking for a good Black Friday deal, Bungie is literally giving away a free god roll on this gun. We'll talk about that in a minute. But I've been complaining for a while that Bungie seemingly deleted precision frame sidearms, the 260 RPM variants, from the game by either deleting the source that you get them from or by taking them out of the loot rotation. Take the Swift Verdict, for example, which is a dynamite weapon with a juiced perk pool, but instead of updating it with the new origin trait like all the other Prophecy dungeon weapons, they decided to delete it from the loot pool and give us a second pulse rifle instead in the same dungeon loot pool, which I was really confused by that choice. But anyway, for a while now, we've really only had the Boudica on the rotation as an option to focus at the gunsmith. You know, these were a dying breed. So when Bungie decided to bring a new sidearm to the family this season, I was elated. And I was even happier to find that it was a void energy weapon because these weapons are exceptional duelers that are great for really brawler kill chaining. And these void weapons are really easy to integrate with void builds that kind of lean into devour. And in the gameplay today, you're going to see that on full display. In a meta where you've got people laning with pulses and then using fusions and shotguns up close, I was able to drop multiple 50-plus kill games and finish with between 30 and 40 final blows. Not assists, by the way. Final blows in a single match with just this sidearm by chaining together a string of devour streaks. It was seriously fun. It felt like old Destiny to me, and that's where the magic has always been for me. So let's dissect this weapon and see what's going on under the surface and see if it's something that you should be farming for. Polite reminder, you get this weapon mainly from Onslaught. You can get it from Crucible drops and other ritual activities as well if you've leveled up your battle pass. But the easiest way is just to make the tonics that focus for the Insurmountable and then go run Onslaught and get tons of drops. Alright, let's start with the base stats, and then we'll move on to perks and rolls. Technically, the Insurmountable is statistically the best legendary precision sidearm in the game, okay? It has the most total points in its stat package of all the legendary 260s out there, and that includes the Swift Verdict, the Boudica, the Enigma's Draw, and the Lonesome. But the Insurmountable is a lot different when it comes to where those points are being spent. The range stat is slightly lower by just a few points than the others, except for the Boudica, which has 63 range to the Insurmountable's 50, which comes out to about a 0.6 meter, distance of extra range before you experience drop-off. So the Boudica is an anomaly there, but I've been singing the praises of that gun since it came out, and I still never see anyone using it, which is wild to me. But I do want to zero in on the range on this sidearm real quick before we move on to the other stats, because the Insurmountable, it's actually set up to be one of the farthest reaching duelers in the family, okay? Swift Verdict, for example, has slightly more range, but it has optics instead of barrel perks. So the Insurmountable can have hammer-forged rifling, as well as accurized rounds. Now stop right there. If you know sidearms, that should be like a flag should go off in your brain like, "Brr, brr, brr." What'd you just say? Okay, this is a case of knowing what to look for. I've seen people write this weapon off due to its base range, but guys, there are no other sidearms in the family that can roll with accurized rounds. None. They all only have +5 range perks in the mag column. None of them get accurized rounds. So between hammer forged and accurized rounds, you've just pushed the drop-off distance out an entire meter, making it shoot straight to the top of the family for range. And this is going to come into play here in a second when we talk about perks. But just as a teaser, I want you to know that this gun will end up being the farthest reaching, stickiest, most accurate sidearm in the family by a landslide when we're done with it, and I think the gameplay shows that pretty clearly. Okay, moving off of range for now, the Insurmountable is also tied for the best stability in the family while having the best handling in the family. It has a lower but not the lowest reload speed while having 86 base aim assist. That's about to be maxed out to 100 when we get into the perks, so don't worry about that. But even so, even without that, it's already second in the aim assist department right out of the box. And it also has the best airborne effectiveness in the family. Guys, the stats here, stats are juiced. They're juiced. There's no other way around it. Bungie finally gave us a new weapon in this family that feels like it actually was made for today's sandbox, not 3 years ago Destiny. And for that, I'm extremely grateful. All right, it's time to talk about perks. This gun is actually quite different from some of the other greats in the family that are really about kill chaining. You know, I love my Swift Verdict, but it's Killing Wind and Kill Clip, and it's all about stringing along multi-kills. But the perk pool here is more, it's geared in a different way. The Insurmountable's best options are really going to end up being about raw dueling performance. And then I'm going to lean into the Void Elemental affinity to queue up Devour on multi-kills and get the ball really rolling. The first column here has Air Trigger. It's a great perk on certain weapons, but it's not the play here, okay? Reloading faster isn't anywhere close to being a priority on this thing. We can put on reloader mods, not worried about it. We want dueling performance, okay? Next is Demolitionist. It's not awful for grenade builds, but still not what we're looking for here. We've got Attrition Orbs as a hard pass in PvP, not a bad PvE option. Threat Detector, this is a solid pick here, okay? Definitely not a bad choice. It's active within 15 meters of your enemy, so it'll be active in most of your duels, but when people are out near the edge of your range, this won't be active at all, and that's really when you need it the most. We have To the Pain, which isn't a good sidearm perk. It's better on lower risk weapons, where you can really start getting those stacks up and going. Then there's Repulsor Brace. You know, you've got the combo with destabilizing rounds in the second column, if that's your jam. And finally, the king of the column, Lone Wolf. This perk is really making a strong first showing this season. So if you weren't aware, Lone Wolf just passively grants 10 aim assist, 10 airborne effectiveness, and an ADS speed multiplier for free, just because you have the perk. That takes Insurmountable up to 96 aim assist for free. Are you kidding me? These things absolutely delete people with headshots. I mean, technically you only need 3 headshots and 1 body shot to kill somebody with the optimal TTK, but all that extra aim assist is going to net you more yellow numbers, making that optimal 0.7 second TTK much more approachable. But when no allies are within 15 meters of you, you're going to get double those stats for a maximum 100 aim assist and 20 more airborne effectiveness for a total of 45, meaning this thing is going to absolutely beam people from the air, and I try to abuse that as much as I can with this thing. Ultimately, the passive gains you get from Lone Wolf are far too good to pass up. You hit more shots more consistently in any context. It's the clear winner in the first column here for me. Moving on to the second column here, we have Harmony, which, as always, has some cool build applications and makes the gun a 3 headshot kill for a 0.52 second lightning fast TTK. Pretty cool. Not my pick here, but I can totally understand why someone would take this perk. Next is Closing Time, a perk that I think is severely underrated on things that aren't special weapons. I see everybody's going for this perk on special weapons like shotguns and sniper rifles, but I think it's going a little underappreciated on primary weapons. So as the mag gets lower, you're going to be getting more range, more accuracy, and more handling. These are some of the most important stat values on a sidearm. So when we reach 50% of your magazine's total, you're going to get 10 more range at base, and then we're going to take it up to 20 range by the end of the magazine. We go from about 30 to 50 handling on the bottom half of the mag, and we get one of the biggest accuracy cone buffs in the game, from 5% all the way up to 10% by the end. It's insane. These stat buffs are so substantial, you can literally feel them kicking in. In this little duel on Javelin 4, my damage numbers actually start going up as he's jumping away from me, which never happens on sidearms. Normally you see a dramatic drop-off as they move away. But Closing Time kicked in and said, nah man, you ain't getting out of this. And then I've noticed at point blank, even when I'm just spamming on the bottom half of the mag, sometimes Closing Time is giving me wild headshots that I don't deserve, that literally save my life by helping me close the kill out without having to go in for another shot due to body shot damage. I'm going to be real with you, the performance of this weapon with Lone Wolf and Closing Time both active should be illegal. It's wild. Closing Time is my top pick here, and it isn't even close. But moving on to the other options, we have Rampage for more damage after a kill. It's not going to move the needle on your TTK for a while unless you're really stringing things together. We've got Surrounded for PvE, One for All for PvE as well, because you won't be activating that in PvP without dying most likely. We have Desperate Measures, which is okay. When it's active, you can get the same TTK as the standard optimal TTK, but do it with 2 headshots and 2 body shots instead of the usual 3-1 split. Then we have Destabilizing Rounds for you PvE junkies out there. I think I've already made it pretty clear what I recommend, but let me lay it out for you either way. I highly recommend Hammer Forged Rifling and Accurized Rounds alongside Lone Wolf and Closing Time. And I have good news for you. That's literally the free roll Bungie gives you on the first part of the Act 1 Battle Pass for Revenant. If you claim that one, you'll have this roll. In fact, this entire video was recorded with the free version of the gun and not with any of the other 30+ rolls that I've farmed since then. Literally, the only thing that could be better about this free version is the masterwork, which is handling. We make that range, we got a 5 out of 5, but even so, this rolls a 4 out of 5 easily. You really would have to farm hard to get a better roll than this, and so I highly recommend you try this out for yourself. Like I said, I'm dropping 50 plus kill games with this thing, and it's the one doing all the heavy lifting. That 55 kill game on Javelin 4, yeah, I only had one kill, with my pulse rifle, that whole game. Everything else was just the sidearm doing work. And I'm running a full Devour build with this, with Void Siphon on, so I'm making orbs on multi-kills, picking them up to activate Devour, or I'm using my melee and grenade kills to start Devour, or I'm using the Secant Filament boots to start Devour on Rift casts. It's super fun, guys. You gotta try it out. And with that, I say thank you so much for tuning into the video today. If you enjoyed it, would you consider leaving a like on the video, as that's the best free way to support the content right here on YouTube, and consider subscribing for additional Destiny 2 content. Be warm and well fed, my friends, and I hope to catch you in the Crucible.
Cora would be proud of you, Warlock.